What's going on, guys? My name is Noah. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to talk about 3 things I have done, or 3 different methods that I've implemented in my life to cut weight while being on testosterone replacement therapy. The reason I mentioned while being on TRT is because when I first was diagnosed with low testosterone, I gained a bunch of weight after starting treatment. A bunch of weight, a lot of muscle, but a lot of fat. I suddenly had an appetite that I did not have before, and I was able to build muscle, which I was not able to do before either because of the low testosterone. If you'd like to know why I'm on TRT, by the way, please feel free to read the description below, but otherwise let's just jump into this. The first thing I did when I first started losing weight was simply going into a caloric deficit. So that meant that I identified what my basal metabolic rate was, aka how many calories or what my macro needs would be in order to maintain my weight once I blew up to 247. So I cut my calories by say 300 or 400 pounds, 300 or 400 calories, and then I weighed in every single day. And the thing about this method and why it's interesting to reflect on now is that I wasn't eating healthy when I lost weight that time. I just was eating less. So I wasn't eating a ton of vegetables. I was still eating a lot of processed foods, regularly having, like, let's say some ice cream a couple times a week, or just foods that I now would not probably have, a lot of simple carbs, but I did stay at a caloric deficit, and that did work for me. I slowly got myself down to what you're about to see right now, from 246 to 209, and that was just going into a caloric deficit and working out regularly on top of weighing myself every morning. I have no doubt that being on TRT was a huge reason I was able to preserve so much muscle, and since that had nothing to do with the reason I personally started, I was suffering from severe depression and anxiety when I found out via blood draw that I had low T, I thought that was a badass benefit. The second method that I have implemented that has worked for me for weight loss, again, had to do with MyFitnessPal. And so this might sound super similar to the last one, but it is different. And I think it's interesting and worth mentioning. My buddy Brandon and my coach just told me if I track my food again, if I got really, really rigid with tracking my food, regardless of what I was eating, the lifestyle I had, subconsciously I would start to make better choices and then again, weigh in every morning. And without a doubt, within like 4 or 5 months, I lost 10 pounds. I got down to like 210 just doing that, just tracking my food. That's it. That's number 2. It's the second method I implemented. Simply tracking food and weighing in every morning. That's something all of you guys can do, and you don't have to worry about the deficit thing necessarily. I'm not guaranteeing that this will work for you, but the subconscious is interesting. And when you are quantifying and identifying what you're taking in, the likelihood of making better choices subconsciously it's pretty high, and that's awesome. The third method is intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting is now my go-to. It's my thing. I love it. It's easy, and it coincides also with my deep resurgence of eating healthier foods, tons of leafy greens, lean meats, seeds, nuts, fruits, veggies, complex carbs, staying away from processed carbs, trying to stay away from added sugars, stuff like that. I've incorporated all that into intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting is also less about what you eat, although it works better if you eat better, and more about when you eat. So I now have an 8-hour eating window, and it works really, really well. That's method number 3. It's allowed me to maintain a a relatively lean body, and certainly much better up here. So I typically have my first meal around noon, 1 o'clock, and I have my last meal around 9, 10 o'clock, depending on when I first started. And what that does is it puts you in a fasted state, which makes it a lot easier to burn fat, because your body, once your glycogen storages have been depleted, it's going to use the fat you have for energy. And your growth hormone is very high after you've slept and you haven't eaten. So that works really, really well for me. Intermittent fasting, I don't want to get too deep into it because there's so many incredible videos, but I will include a link in the description where Dr. Berg has this awesome video on intermittent fasting. It has completely been a game changer for me. I'm sleeping better, I'm feeling better, I'm thinking clearer, and keeping weight off is so easy. The power of that eating window. And I would also add that I'm not tracking my food right now with intermittent fasting. I'm not even necessarily weighing in every day. I'm not seeing how many calories I'm eating or trying to stick any window. I'm just focusing on really nutrient-dense foods and sticking within my time frame. If I'm not exercising, I will eat less carbs. I will admit that. On the days I train, I tend to have a bit more carbs. But otherwise, it's a feel thing for me now. I've gotten to a space where just by weighing in daily, essentially, and then sticking to my intermittent fasting, I can sort of feel out how I'm doing, what I need. I base it on my performance in the gym, what I see in the mirror, and how I feel. And I love intermittent fasting. I'm going to do another big video on that. I really am excited to share more with you guys on my experiences with that because it's been phenomenal. I absolutely love it. But I'll save that for a different video. So that's my experiences. Those are the 3 different methods that I've incorporated that have been really great for weight loss. I've had different mindsets about all of them. I've been in different places mentally and physically for all of them. So it's been really cool to see that they can all be useful. And I think that sort of speaks to the most important thing, guys, is that I wouldn't get too carried away with one ideology or one method or one diet or lifestyle or whatever being the be-all end-all. Mostly it's whatever you're willing to do, whatever you're willing to work, and then figuring out how individually they respond to you. Thank you so much for watching this video. In the comments below, please let me know what things you've done. What's worked really well for you for weight loss. Appreciate your time. My name is Noah. Adios.